Excellent. How are you guys? Welcome, everybody. This is Get a Grip on Your Intuitive Intelligence. If you have a question about any of your intuitive abilities, psychic, mediumistic, empathic, go ahead and post them now. If you aren't sure what abilities you have, that's sort of the point of this show. So you can post about an experience that you've had, something you're curious about, something you just don't have answers to. If you're wondering why certain things happen to you, for you, and you suspect that it is part of your spiritual abilities, we could say. Right now, I don't really care for that term because intuitive intelligence is innate. It really has nothing to do with your level of spiritual development whatsoever. For example, psychic ability, it doesn't make you a very spiritual person, but it does mean that if a polar bear were to be coming after you, you would know ahead of time and you would know to run. You may even see it in a dream days or weeks ahead of time, okay, even years. So we don't necessarily here at the Ivy League Psychic Academy believe that intuitive intelligence is connected to spiritual development, but certainly psychic, mediumistic, and empathic abilities are very real. They are extremely useful, and it's part of our roots. It's something we should all be in touch with every day of our lives. So today, what we're going to be doing is helping you to get in touch with whatever intuitive intelligence you have. Again, if you don't know what abilities you have, but you have a curious experience and you want to post about that, that would be part of your question. I will tell you why you're having this type of experience. Is it psychic, mediumistic, empathic? Right. And if we don't get to everybody here today, you guys can always book an intuitive ability assessment with me up on the website at ivyrivera.psychicmedium.com. And you'll get that through an email voice clip. All right. So we don't have to get on the phone and we don't have to do a full reading with that. It's super simple. You just purchase it and I tell you what abilities you have and what they could be used for. All right. I want to check in here with my beautiful producer, Jill, to make sure that we are in fact on Facebook because we did start a little bit late. Jill, can I get a thumbs up from you? Either way, letting me know if we have to start over there or if we're good to go. I do see that we're doing well here on TikTok. Looks like Instagram is also running. And YouTube. Okay, so I see these three. I'm just not sure about Facebook. Okay. All right, Jill, are we going forward or do you need me to wait? Not sure about Facebook yet. Okay, if there's anyone tuning in here from Facebook, if you could let me know in the comment section that we are in fact running from there. We had a little bit of a late start, and the way Facebook works, it kind of bumps you right out of the system if you don't start almost exactly when you said you were going to. We have people on here from Facebook. All right, so we've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, we've got YouTube, we've got TikTok. That's everybody. So let's go ahead and get started. So welcome everyone. I'm Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, a Taino Arrow Walk. This is my Get a Grip on Your Intuitive Intelligence show. For $5, I'm going to give you the short answer. For $10, I'm going to give you the longer answer. And if I don't get to everyone, you can book your own private intuitive ability assessment on my website at ivyrivera.psychicmedium.com. That's in the description box above or below, depending on where you're tuning in. And I will tell you what abilities you have. So post if you haven't already done so. What experiences you're having. If you want to know whether we're talking about more of a spiritual experience versus more of an intuitive intelligence sort of experience. I'm going to be breaking all that down for you guys today. Please do give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, drop a comment to get me moving in the algorithm. It is certainly appreciated. And I know we already have a few questions here, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Jill, who's first? All right, so we have a $10 question from an Edgar. And he wants to know, hi, Ivy, what are the spiritual abilities or intuitive intelligence? Okay, I have. So that's a real basic question. Again, you guys can post your actual experiences and I'll break it down for you. So Edgar wants to know what abilities he has. First thing that comes up with you, Edgar, is psychic ability. We would call this like third eye, clairvoyance. This is your ability to understand the past, the present, and the future with accuracy and in detail, even without any information, without any data being given to you. You can see things that have occurred, are occurring, or will be occurring. Now, that's useful for you, given your life contract and the line of work that you're supposed to be going into. If you are assisting people to avoid tragedy, if you're helping people avoid pitfalls, if you're helping people to stay focused and consistent with what it is that they need to do, sort of like a good counselor always knows ahead of time what's going on with their patients. A teacher can feel their students and understand what they're going through without those students ever saying anything. It's sort of like a parent to child dynamic. Okay, so you're going to have this with, we would say, your patients, your clients, the people you work with, the ones that you're mentoring over. Now, while that's wonderful, it can also be a little bit intrusive. And so I think something you're going to have to work with is detachment. You're going to have to work hard to understand at all times that they are them and you are you, and they are not extensions of you. And so while you may psychically receive information about others, it really comes down to ethical code of conduct and what's appropriate to share at different times and to what degree. Okay. So, I would recommend my psychic mediumship course to you to learn the do's and do nots, the ethical code of conduct, and all the legalities behind things like that. But I think it's also important for you to understand that this is useful information. A lot of people in, the past term for this is messenger of death syndrome. And, there's no better name for it at this point. We can call it whatever we want, but that's a term that people would understand. And so the old timers called it that because it was a blessing and a curse, mostly taken as a curse. When you understand that something potentially negative is going to happen with someone else, what most of us tend to do psychically is buckle. And we hide it away. We may become depressed. We may have survivor's guilt. We may become hyper religious. We may deny our abilities altogether and say, I'm not psychic. I didn't know anything. I don't want to know anything. That's the bottom line. You don't want to know. Thing is, you do know. You did know. And so the question is, how can you make it something useful? And a great deal of the time, these incidents are preventative. So you're going to want to look into that. The other thing that I get for you is a lot of mediumistic ability. Now, mediumistic ability is up to spirit. When spirit wants to communicate, spirit's going to communicate. But I would pay attention to ringing in your left ear, like a tinnitus. The grandmothers used to say left for love, right for spite, and that was fairly accurate. So the left ear ringing, a pressure in the ear, even like an itching or a tingling, that's spirit messaging coming through. For you, it would come through in the form of clairaudience. Clairaudient ability is the ability to hear spirit in your head as though it is your own inner dialogue or your own thoughts. So start being more mindful of that. This may also be something that increases as you're working more and more with the public in a healing setting. Good luck with all of that, Edgar. Thank you so much for your question. We're going to move on to another one here from a Stacy Lynn. This is a $10 question. And she wants to know, I feel like my intuition is opening up way more lately. Lots more synchronicity. Do I have any of the clairs and or am I intuitively connected to the earth? Okay. Well, we're all intuitively connected to the earth. That's sort of unbelievable when you look around and see what we're actually doing to the planet. However, we are going through the Great Awakening and the Revolution, and like the last stages of the Hopi prophecy. So you could say it's sort of like the end times. If we were to look biblically, we would say this is like Revelations, right? So people are getting wiped out. Everything's getting burnt down to be rebuilt. And this is in a lot of ways protecting the earth. So through this process, you are feeling more. You are becoming heightened in your psychic, mediumistic, and empathic abilities. You are also, because you are connected to the earth, as many of us have been experiencing, we may be having more apocalyptic type dreams. We may be experiencing more prophecy and visions of the earth itself, sort of flushing us all out of here, going through her own cleansing cycle. And so you could be feeling not only more connected to the earth, but connected to weather, connected to things like tornadoes and hurricanes and flooding, fires, eruptions of all kinds. So again, if we break down why you are having such an increase with your intuition, it's due to the collective atmosphere. It's not just the changes that the earth is going through and the revolution there. It's the awakening and the revolution that's going on with the human beings and the animal community. So when we talk about things like a huge collective movement, such as the one we had with COVID, for example, that was a period of time where everybody got more empathic. All right. And I did quite a few classes on this here on YouTube at Ask Ivy. You guys can look in the playlist. But when I talked a lot about the empathic awakening, the awareness of other people's thoughts, other people's feelings, us becoming more and more irritated by other people's energy and the sleep disturbances and the mental confusion, emotional meltdowns, depression, and anxiety. Hey, Jesus, knock it off. Cat's trying to knock over all the cameras. When we talk about things like this, we would have been picking up on the collective energy of upset, okay, during that time. And a lot of other people recognized with their empathic ability really how empathic they were, because when we had to have, for example, 6 feet of distance, or we were no longer able to go to the office to work, we had to do it from home, or we weren't able to connect with people directly, we felt better. So there were many people who awakened to their intuitive intelligence, realizing, oh my God, I feel better not being around all these people, because the entire time you were absorbing them and didn't realize it. Okay, so we have a few different increases that are causing for you, Stacy, and most of us to go through psychic, mediumistic, and empathic ability intensity. All right, look into it, get into it. Hope to see you at the Psychic Mediumship course. Again, you guys can join that at any time. We are officially evergreen, okay, 100%. You could just join the Psychic Mediumship course. You don't have to be with the group anymore. All right, if you have not already posted your question, you can go ahead and do that now. $5 gets you the short answer, $10 gets you the long answer. You can post any experiences you're having, or if you want to know more about your intuitive abilities, spiritual gifts, some people like to call them. What is our next question? So we have from a Nicole Bennett. This is a $10 question. And she wants to know, any insight into spiritual abilities is appreciated. Okay. And again, I'm going to reiterate, when we're talking about spiritual abilities, that's more of a choice. Most of the time people who are developing spiritually are doing so because they're leveling up, because they're doing shadow work, because they're completing karmic cycles. They're making sure that they are evolving. It's sort of like self-development. You may even do something like go for therapy, and then all of a sudden, you're more open spiritually. And a lot of people don't connect that type of thing, but it's true. And it would be, a lot of cleansing in your life, Nicole. So the more you're getting rid of relationships, situations that you invest in, even for you, conversations that you shouldn't be having with others and or with yourself, the more room you're making for the new. All right. So it's kind of like a Kundalini. With the Kundalini, you're going to clear out old energy to make room for the new. It's like saying every time the bus stops, somebody's got to get off. In order for a new door to open, another door has to close. And that is something that you've been investing in. So that may be assisting you with your spiritual development. I think that with this, one of the things, we're talking about is your ability in your life contract to communicate with others effectively and to empathically reach others in such a way that maybe they feel, I don't want to say maternal or like, parental, but people feel safe with you. So a couple key areas that you want to focus on is your empathic ability to know and understand what people are thinking and feeling and needing to hear without them ever telling you. But also your delivery. Now, your delivery is something you haven't necessarily been able to maximize. When we look at your line of work or the career choices that you've made, you've been a bit behind the scenes. You've been a bit behind the desk. You've been a bit dealing with like the shuffling of information or paperwork or doing other things that don't necessarily assist you in connecting with your ministry or your client base in that way. It would be actually very detached from all of that and business. Okay, so if we're moving from a more traditional or almost like corporate type of work setting into something that is a far more healing, holistic, intuitive, it would require a pretty significant shift and determination from you to make yourself readily available to people. And I think until that happens, you're not going to really fully understand what it is that Spirit's talking to you about today. But the more active you are with the public, the more you say, I am available, I am here to be of counsel to you in some way, to offer healing to you, the more you're going to connect the dots. It's almost like the path is going to be lit up before you, and you're going to understand what it is that you're supposed to be saying to people, and even specifically which groups of people you're meant to be working with. And I think that one of the first things you're going to notice in dealing with the public is that people who didn't have a parent, people who didn't have structure growing up, people who were marginalized, people that were abandoned or bullied, almost like I want to say to you, the people you want to fight for. Okay, so if you have a drive toward activism, if you have a drive to protect certain people, speak up on behalf of certain people, you are going to find that once you start offering your services to the public, that is the first group that comes as part of your ministry for you to work with. Okay, so you offer them sort of the voice that they can't always find. You offer them the support and healing that they have trouble connecting with, and you give them the energy that they need to go out there and become self-empowered, not reliant on you, which is another strong angle you need to focus on, and to get out there and keep fighting the good fight. Okay, and continue to enjoy their lives, continue to maybe thrive instead of just survive. Right, so there's a lot going on there for sure. All right, we do have another question coming in here from a Julie, and I don't know. Okay, there we go, $10. So let's see what's going on with Julie. Wants to know, do you get any messages from my highest guides about my spiritual journey? What specific healing modalities should I be focusing on right now? Okay, so when we talk about your guides that help you through this process, we're really specifically talking about your joy guide. There's a class up on my website called Meet Your Guides that introduces you to your 5 guides. This one in particular watches over your mental and emotional well-being, as well as your spiritual and intuitive development. So you're going to want to talk to your joy guide, and this is for everybody on a daily basis. I do it with my morning cup of coffee before I talk to any other human beings, just to see what's going on for that day. And I think that, Julie, when we look at any specific healing modalities that you should be doing, for a while, it feels like you're working with energy. I almost get this sense, I heard feng shui, but then I was like seeing Tai Chi, and then I'm seeing like energy work and Reiki. And so you may have been going through a 3-year journey leading up to where we are right now that has educated you quite a lot on how energy moves, how energy can be manipulated, and how energy best works within universal law and order. And so it's after recognizing all of that, or through the process of recognizing that, you've been applying it more to yourself. And this is beautiful. This is a great lesson for everybody, that we really have to understand how these things apply to us individually, before we're really going out into the world and giving it to everybody else. And so it's about taking those lessons and mastering those skills, not just because we learn them, but because we're walking them out in our day-to-day lives. This is what levels you up to the point where you're ready to start giving it out to other people. I really feel you doing that two different ways. One is energy work. So if we're talking about Reiki, we're talking about psychic surgery, we're talking about quantum healing, we're talking about whatever form it is that you decide to do it. It feels ultimately like you would be shifting and moving energy in the person's energy field, and you would be helping them to also do this mentally and emotionally. I'm hearing block removal from past life issues. This may also assist them in things like addictive behavior, habit forming, toxic mentality. You may be almost breaking, generational curses, so to speak, but it's really just a form of block removal and toxic removal. And so that's, one of the areas that you really need to be working with. The other thing I see you doing successfully is meditation. And while, I can't guarantee that if you were to do like a live meditation that you would have 1 million people showing up. What I can say is that people would look back on it and watch it later. And so you don't want to base your success level on the way it looks out of the gate. You would want to base it more on how it looks over time. Like, for example, if you had a meditation video you did and it sat there for a couple months, okay, and see if the numbers are increasing. Okay, we are going to move on to another one from Janet Kelly. This is a $5 question. She wants to know, what abilities do you see me having? Okay, again, you guys can post about any experiences you've had, and I will tell you what abilities those are connected to, and whether it's more spiritual or it's more like energetic and intuitive. All right. Janet wants to know, what abilities do you have? What abilities do I have? So what I'm feeling with you, Janet, is a lot of empathic ability on the second, going into the third level, and an ability to also manipulate energy and heal people through communicating mediumistically. And so when we combine empathic ability and mediumistic ability, often what happens is that spirit will come through and sort of channel right through you and tell you to say something. All right. Now, it's successful because you're connecting to them empathically as well. Third level empathic ability, and you could check out my empathic awareness class up on my website. Third level empathic ability is intense. This allows you to do some new things. This puts some new tricks up your sleeve, okay, that you didn't have on the first and the second level. And one of them for you is energy manipulation. And with energy manipulation, meaning that you can go into a situation that seems broken or desperately needs healing or it's very toxic, you can infuse it with positive energy and get it moving in a better direction, a higher vibration, a healing way. Now, spirit loves this. Okay. So often with level 3, 4 empaths, we see mediumship increasing. Yes. Psychic ability increasing, but channeling specifically increasing. So one of the things that may happen with you is that a spirit will come directly through you and tell you what to say or tell you who to reach out to. You may also be going into more trance-like states because of this. So don't be surprised if you're at the grocery store and you sort of have lapses, and whether it be like time or you don't remember saying something to somebody else out on the streets or at lunch with a friend or a family member, and they say, wow, that was really helpful for me. Thank you. And you have no recollection of it whatsoever. Okay. So very interesting. Very, very powerful. Do we have any more questions coming in? Julie says, thank you. That was very helpful. Wonderful. Again, I want to remind you guys that if I don't get to everybody today, you can always book your intuitive ability assessment with me up on the website, and it gets sent to you as a voice clip right through your email. So we don't have to even get on the phone for that one. We have one from a Lavender, and this is a $5 question. She wants to know, How do my loved ones communicate with me? Okay, well, that would be a death coaching session, and that's something you're going to have to book, because I would have to break down every single one of your loved ones and figure out what their languages are. And then we have to have a pairing between their language and your language. So here's what I tell my students. What we're looking for is a pairing of clairs. You've got clairvoyance, the ability to see, clairaudience, the ability to hear, clairsentience, the ability to feel in your body. You got a whole bunch of them. If we don't have a pairing, we've got nothing. You've got bupkis. You've got no connection whatsoever. This is why a lot of people feel that their loved ones aren't communicating with them. But we basically have a human being who isn't evolving in their communication, and you have a loved one on the other side who only has certain abilities they're able to work with yet. Okay, so again, the psychic mediumship course, you guys have to get trained in how to communicate on all different platforms, so that whatever your loved ones on the other side are able to do, you're going to have a pairing in that clair or that ability. So, I mean, what I can tell you is that, you know, for the most part, where your abilities lie, Lavender, are in two separate areas. And I would even throw in dreams. Okay, so that's not technically a clair. But being able to receive your loved ones through visit dreams and astro travel is huge. Okay, so you do have that. The other two that you really have are clairsentience, the ability to feel in your body tingling when they come in, or a physical impression maybe of something they suffered with before they passed. And you have clairaudient ability. So again, pay attention to the ringing in your ears, the tinnitus in your ears, and then being able to put thoughts in your head, song lyrics in your head, answers and solutions in your head. Okay, so those are the most common ones, because that's what you have going on. And that's all they can work with, is whatever you have going on. We want to increase in all the other areas. All right, do we have any other questions coming in here from a Tatiana? We have a $5, and she wants to know, okay, do I have any spiritual abilities and clairsenses? I feel like I have conversations in my head. I also just seem to know some things. Well, so just knowing some things is probably more connected, Tatiana, to your psychic ability. Psychic ability does not require you're connecting with spirit at all. It does not require that you're empathic and connecting with other humans at all. It does not require any other clair to work and be fully functioning and highly accurate. Okay, so psychic ability, clairvoyance, is the ability to accurately predict the past, the present, and the future without any information whatsoever. You know, this is how I was able to escape 9/11. This is how I've been able to tell certain people when something was going to happen, and they most of the time escaped something like death, okay, or a terrible accident. This is how you are able to know if you're about to get a job promotion and you should pay more attention. Okay, this is how you may know when, you know, a huge opportunity or something really harmful is going to come up around you, even through the other people around you, or who you should avoid and trust, you know. So you want to put a lot of emphasis on that, because it doesn't only help you, it eventually expands out so that you can help others through that ability. As far as you said, you feel like you have conversations in your head. Cats are screaming to get down in the basement and go play with the ghosts in the embalming room. So when we are talking about clairaudience, again, that's the conversations. Now, you may notice an increase with clairaudience, and this is for everybody, okay? When you're in the bathroom, the native belief is that it's the porcelain, the water, the mirrors, the earth, okay? All conductors of communication. Clairaudience can be like conversations that you're going to have later, conversations that are going to go on around you at Starbucks, okay? Or when you're in line. And you may notice it when you're brushing your teeth, you're in the shower, you hear these conversations. It is conversations going on in your head as well. Okay, that's essentially what it is. And you may notice it at random times and then hear it actually audibly play out in real time. So that ability is something you want to learn how to control. Again, this is for everybody. Check out my psychic mediumship course, because with clairaudience, you can also be manipulated by negative and lower spirits, as well as spirits in the light. And it's something you need to learn to master. Okay, so you're controlling your thoughts. All right, we have another question coming in here. Are we at Lauren C, your question is an Ask Ivy. Oh, I see. Okay. So yeah, it looks like some people are submitting questions for a different show. This is Get a Grip. All right. So we are at time, everybody. Again, if I didn't get to you, go ahead and get your intuitive ability assessment up on my website. That link is above or below. I will see you guys back here in 2 weeks for my Ask Ivy show, where I take your personal questions and I deliver out messages from Spirit. See you guys soon. Have a great night. Thanks so much.